Hi, I'm Cynthia. I'm an artist, and I'm here to talk about my experience as a first year animation student at the One Academy. For the second episode, I'll be talking about drawing fundamentals, which is made up of two classes, figure and still life. But for this episode, I'll be focusing on figure. This is actually by far the hardest class for me in Sem 1. I've mentioned before that I'm not that comfortable with traditional work, and out of all the subjects that require traditional work, figure was the one I thought would be the easiest. So I immediately decided to put more effort into the other subjects, which was a mistake. For our first day, they gave us our first drawing test. We had to draw one male and one female in full body pose and a portrait drawing using the reference they gave us. So for our first home assignment, we did gesture drawing. I think we did around 80. My lecturers recommended doing one gesture in under a minute or two so that it doesn't take up too much of our time, considering we had so many assignments. I got a 6. I decided to resubmit it and I still got a 6, which led me to asking about my grade. Well, as it turned out, 6 is a perfectly okay grade to get. And after that, we moved on to skeletals. They gave us a list of landmarks that we had to remember, and we had to label each of them properly. We did around 40 or more skeletals for this assignment. After learning the skeletal form, we moved on to the 3D form. For the third home assignment, we were required to submit 20 gestures and 6 pages of gesture, skeletal, 3D form of the references they chose. That became the format until home assignment 5. I actually got a 7 for home assignment 3, which is funny because I don't remember getting a 7 this early. We tackled foreshortening, block parts, balancing, and how to draw them. For home assignments 6 to 9, they reduced the gesture, skeletal, and 3D form to 3 pages because we started working on portrait assignments. Again, I mostly got 6s, but I ended up getting a 5 for HA9, which I understand because I did try to finish this one fast. It's fine because I decided to resubmit it and got an 8, which pulled my grade up. When we started learning portraits, they also gave us a list of landmarks to remember and use as reference. We got to design faces for the first assignment, then we started drawing portraits for the rest of the sem. I also resubmitted this one and changed my grade from a 6 to an 8. Okay, hold on. It seems like I'm complaining about getting a 6 because I really did worry about this class. I kept getting 6s for most of it, and I only learned that I got 8s and 7s the next term when they gave us back the final assignments. So I was stressing out the entire Christmas break. But looking back at it now, I think I did pretty good. Moving on to the last test, we started with the figure test, which consists of the front, back, and side skeletal view, along with 3 pages of gesture, skeletal, and 3D form. For the portrait test, I changed my pencil set because one of my issues with my portrait assignments is that I couldn't get the dark values that I wanted. So instead of using Faber-Castell, I used the Unicorn Artist Sketch pencil set. Here's my initial test, and this is my final test. This class had 3 assessment periods and I got a B, a B-, and an A consecutively. But I won't be revealing my final grade for this until I finish discussing still life because even though it's a separate class, the grades will be combined anyway. For the gesture assignments, I think what's important is that we identify the line of action and try to simplify the lines. For skeletal, I think what they want is for us to be able to identify the landmarks on top of the references and get the proportions right. For the 3D form, it's definitely getting the measurements and proportions right as well. I think for me, it's mostly the proportion that I have to work on. As for portraits, bringing out the values is definitely what counts. Doing my figure assignments was frustrating at first, especially when it felt like I wasn't improving, considering I kept getting 6s. But I do know that I developed a lot as an artist. I feel more comfortable drawing poses. I can draw portraits now, and I'm glad that I managed my time well because I definitely persevered a lot in this class. And I'm glad that I managed my time well. I think I resubmitted 3 assignments for the third assessment. I did my best to pull up my grade. And deciding to resubmit took a lot for me because it meant sacrificing time that I could use to rest. But I also thought that it would be good practice for the finals. And now I can part with this class on a good note. And for the next episode, I'll be talking about the second part of drawing fundamentals, which is still life. Until then, stay tuned.